Whoa! Where the hell am I?
Hello, Burns. I want to play a game. For too long, you have been spoiling movies, and I am here to serve you with an NDA. That's right, I'm sure, as you know, from the Chris Tuckman video and others, that you would be killed if you try to show any clips from Spiral from the Book of Saw, starring Chris Rock and Samuel Jackson, now in theaters and soon to be on video on demand. Consider yourself warned of being in danger.
Look, Mr. Billy Jigsaw, I think there's a perfectly good explanation.
Because, John, of Birds Reviews, I will come for you, and I will do the worst thing I can do to you. Demonetize. I am Billy, and I should have been in this movie. Goodbye now.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Ending Explained, and today we're talking about the newest installment in the Saw franchise, Spiral from the Book of Saw. If you're new to the channel and want to get videos just like this, be sure to subscribe and give the video a thumbs up, it really does help a lot. And if you've never seen Spiral and don't want to be spoiled by it, we also have a spoiler-free movie review right here, be sure to go check that out. And without any further ado, let the traps and spoilers begin as we talk about
Spiral from the Book of Saw.
The story of the new Jigsaw. Our story begins 12 years ago when Detective Zeke Banks and his then partner Pete Dunleavy go to interview Charlie Emerson, a witness who plans to testify against a dirty cop. With Zeke waiting down the hall, Pete decides to shoot Emerson in cold blood, killing him immediately. Zeke hears the gunshot and runs over to see what happens, but Pete lies and says that Emerson pulls a gun on him, which of course makes absolutely no sense. Zeke investigates the crime scene and sees Charlie's 12-year-old son William hiding in the closet. Not wanting William to be killed by Pete, he shushes him and tells him to be quiet, something that we'll see again later in the end of the film. Zeke testifies against his partner Pete and gets a medal for it, however, doing so causes a rift inside the department. Yes, his father, Marcus Banks, was the chief back in those days, however, the department now views Zeke as a rat and doesn't provide him any backup when pursuing a criminal in a gunfight. So of course he gets shot. A plot point that was heavily inspired from the movie Serpico. In the present day, things have changed. Zeke's dad is no longer the police chief. William has changed his last name from Emerson to Schneck, and finds a way to get assigned as Zeke's new partner so that he can start his maniacal plan as a new Jigsaw killer. Maniacal laugh. And while his killings are different than John Kramer's, and make no mistakes, they are killings, not a single trap in this film gave nearly enough time for the victims to escape, and his plan isn't merely to make them more grateful to be alive, but rather to send a message to the Metro Police Department so that they'll actually clean up their act. Yeah, not the most realistic plan in the world, but hey, you know, he's trying. He starts with Boz by strapping his tongue to a device that makes him dangle over some train tracks. The choice is pretty clear. Drop and lose the tongue that you have used to falsely testify in court numerous times over your career, or get hit by the C train. Of course, he drops way too late and he is killed immediately. Funny enough though, out of all the traps, and I think there's about 5, this is probably the most likely one that the victim could have actually gotten out of, but I'll come back to that later. Next is Detective Fitch, a cop that not only didn't back up Zeke when he got shot, but also shot an unarmed kid in a pickup truck simply for making fun of him. Not wanting Fitch to ever use a finger to pull a trigger again, Jigsaw puts him in a Chinese finger cuff trap and pulls all of his fingers off before electrifying him with a pool of justice and a little bit of wire. Yeah, it's a little hammy, it's a little punny, and I think the new Jigsaw would be great at dad jokes. The sense of irony is not lost on this guy, okay? Fun fact, the blueprint for this trap can actually be seen in Jigsaw's hidden lair in Saw 2. From this point on, William decides that he's going to fake his own death by switching places with the person that we see in the beginning of the movie dressed in this Uncle Sam outfit, and proceeds to kill Angie for supporting the former corrupt police chief, Marcus Banks. Marcus utilized a policy in the department called Article 8, which is not really a thing, but serves as something not too different from the Patriot Act. It allowed officers to dictate their own brand of justice to get results, and was a key component in getting William's father killed. Not that Marcus gave Pete the order to kill Charlie Emerson directly, but he set the tone in the department that allowed officers to do things like that, knowing that the chief would look the other way if not help cover it up, which he often did. With Angie burned alive and Pete killed by broken bottles shot through an air chute. Yeah, I thought that one was kind of weird too. We are brought to our grand finale. William tells Zeke everything and asks him to join in hopes that they can clean up the streets together as Jigsaw. Aww, he just wants a bromance with a cop that has always done the right thing. I mean, come on, can you imagine if Hydra asked Captain America to start killing people within S.H.I.E.L.D. so that it would clean up its act? I mean, you know that he is a goody two-shoes, by the book, always do the right thing kind of cop. What makes you think that you could convince him to start, like, killing people? Well, maybe because he actually didn't. Which brings me to point number 1. The game was never real. You see, I think this was once again a ploy. William didn't honestly think that Zeke would join him here. He knew that he would do exactly what he ended up doing. Use the last bullet in the gun to save Marcus, scuffle with him in the elevator for a bit, wait for the SWAT team to come in, wait for the lights to go out and for Marcus to get picked back up, have him get shot by his own cops, and then mystically get away on the elevator that nobody but Chris Rock saw. I mean, yeah, I'm starting to see why not everybody loved this movie. A lot of things have to go right for this to actually happen. I've seen this movie 3 times now, and the more I think about it, all Zeke really had to do was run over to like where the spiral was, high-five it, shoot William in the face, take the contraption off his dad, and just wait for the SWAT team to come in, and he's gonna get another medal. Another thing that kind of bothered me too is that all Samuel Jackson had to do was lift his arms all the way up. Granted, I know that it kind of did the but the contraption only pulls your arms up. All he had to do was go all the way up.
Reach for the sky!
And yeah, it would look like he's gonna shoot the sky or something, but it's a lot better than like... Am I right? But hey, movie's got a movie. I know the movie decided to make this a social commentary in literally the last 5 minutes, and that's cute and all, but I'd like to think that a room full of SWAT guys would have thought twice before shooting a guy who's hanging in midair. If this was going on back in the day during Article 8, maybe, but I think times have changed. But like I said, this all had to happen perfectly for his plan to work. Not to mention, I don't really see Marcus Banks as being a bad guy. I mean, yeah, did he do some bad things? Yes, but I don't think he's any worse than, say, like Commissioner Gordon, who lied about Harvey Dent to save Gotham City. Is it the right thing? Absolutely not, but I think his heart was in the right place. I think he had good intentions.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration? You were saying something about best intentions?
Okay, maybe he was kind of a shitheel. I mean, I'm not saying it was okay. It wasn't, but I understand it. So with William now in the wind, what's next for the Saw franchise? Will William get away? Will Zeke end up in jail, unable to explain the situation? Well, realistically, Zeke would be taken into custody until everything could be sorted out. Much like earlier in the film when they find Bob's body and they match up the dental records like what seems like a day, they would probably do the same with the body that they think is Williams and immediately would be like, that's not him. We gotta go find him. They'd call the FBI would come in, they would waste time trying to follow the leads, the where he might be last, and he's way gone by this point. He's probably in a different city. Although, if I know anything about Saw, everything's in the same city. He's someplace else in the city. There's an endless supply of abandoned warehouses that he can go to. If I know anything from the Saw franchise, there's probably an abandoned Toys R Us that he can go to and just hang out without being detected. Keep in mind that William was given full access to the investigation of his own crime. So not only does he have all the information on John Kramer and all the traps, which he can now use as a playbook, but he also has all the files, what I would imagine, all the police, all the dirty cops. So now he knows who to go after in the sequel. I'd love to see Zeke go after William in a spiral too, but realistically, the police would not let Zeke take the lead on this case. He's too close to it. It's too personal. And the FBI would probably start to wonder how clean Zeke actually is, considering how dirty everybody else in this investigation actually was. Now, I expect if there is a Spiral 2 that Zeke will have to go after William alone. Or perhaps William will only deal with Zeke in the sequel. That's definitely a trope that I've seen in a lot of movies. Get me Detective Banks, I will only talk to him. Yeah, that's probably the way they're gonna go. But if you do bring back Chris Rock, this time he's definitely gonna lose a hand, a foot, a pinky. What a cop-out this scene was. I mean, come on, they used it in all of the trailers. Anyway, according to interviews with both Rock and director Darren Lynn Bousman, this doesn't exactly seem to be the end of the Saw franchise. In April 2021, a sequel film titled Saw X was confirmed to be in development with Twisted Pictures. However, Darren Lynn Bousman stated that it was premature and that it surprised him and the film's producers. He said, "Just because we made Spiral doesn't mean that Saw ceases to exist. Just because Spiral is here, that doesn't mean there won't be a Spiral 9. This is not the 9th Spiral film in the Saw franchise. There easily could be a Saw 9 that follows Jigsaw. I think we're just waiting to see how Spiral goes and how audiences respond to determine what happens next." Lionsgate Television chairman Kevin Beggs announced that Lionsgate TV is in early talks to develop a television series based on Spiral, alongside Mark Berg and Owen Cole's Twisted Television Productions. So long story short, there seems to be a promise of a Spiral TV show and a Saw sequel. It's unclear if Chris Rock will return, but when asked, he said this: "The studio and I are talking. We want this one to do well, so we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but if this one does do well, I could see myself doing this again. I don't want to spoil the movie, but it's open. Another one wouldn't be out of the question." Personally speaking, I would rather they just scrap the TV show and the movie and just make a direct sequel to Spiral. If they make a TV show out of Spiral, it's going to be watered down. It's going to be less gruesome, and it's going to be kind of like more of a soap opera, much like the later sequels in the Saw franchise. I would much rather they keep going in this dark, gritty direction. All we really need is for Chris Rock to stay in the game and maybe bring in another familiar actor to keep the integrity of the franchise intact. This movie gave me strong vibes of Seven, Serpico, and even True Detective. The first season, not those later awful ones. And yeah, there are many flaws with this movie, such as these. But as somebody who loves movies that are centered around a police procedural with a really good mystery intact, I'm all in. I mean, yes, don't get me wrong, this movie is heavily flawed. But regardless, despite all the hate that I see online, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I love a good mystery. So if you came out with another one, sign me up, I'm in. I mean, come on, Saw, you're either a fan or you're not, right? But what did you think of Spiral from the Book of Saw? Be sure to comment down below. And before I forget, we're also doing a giveaway this week. All you have to do is be a subscriber, give the video a thumbs up, and comment down below your thoughts of the new movie, Spiral from the Book of Saw. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you want a sequel? Do you want Chris Rock to come back? Do you want Tobin Bell to come back? I want your opinion from the Saw aficionados themselves. Comment down below, and until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. I've been John, you've been Burned here on Burns Reviews, and we will see you next time. Anyway, guys, if you like this skit, we have plenty more videos right here. You can click that box, you can click that box. We got all kinds of crazy stuff, so be sure to check it out, and we will see you in the next video.